Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Sheila Jackson, Director of our Department of Family and Community Partnerships in Prince George's County Public Schools. I'd like to welcome everyone to this evening's Parent and Community Advisory Session, especially for District 7. It is our pleasure to welcome you and to give you an opportunity to hear from our interim superintendent as well as ask questions about tonight, about his vision. So I'm going to turn things over immediately to Dr. Jennifer Love, who will explain our simultaneous interpretation and our American Sign Language interpretation services for this evening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jackson. Good evening, everyone. Muy buenas noches. We are very pleased to be able to offer interpretation in American Sign Language. American Sign Language interpreters can be pinned by participants. Also, we are providing interpreting services simultaneously in Spanish. Los servicios de interpretación están disponibles en español esta noche. Next slide, please. So to access interpreting services, para acceder esos servicios de interpretación en una computadora, en la parte baja de la pantalla habrá un globo. Ese es un globo de interpretación. Necesitan hacer un clic en ese globo y seleccione la palabra Spanish. En un dispositivo móvil, en la parte baja de la pantalla, toca el icono de elipsis en la parte baja derecha de la pantalla. Va a tocar Language Interpretation y va a tocar Spanish. Gracias.
Thank you, Dr. Love. Next slide. Again, we want to thank everyone for being with us, and we are going to drop into the chat box our sign-in for this evening. Not everyone who was able to register, but you're here, and we would love for you to sign in, share your information with us, so that we can make sure you're invited to all of our family engagement instances that we have in Prince George's County. Also, it's an opportunity for us to reach back out to you to let you know when this session will be held in person in your Board of Education district. So please take a moment to sign in. You can scan the QR code that's here on the screen, or you can take advantage of the link that is going to be dropped into the chat box. Next slide, please. There are norms for our meeting this evening. We believe in establishing those boundaries that will help us stay focused and help us move forward. We ask that everyone please practice mutual respect, engage transparently as you ask your question, listen for understanding, because our interim superintendent will be sharing some pertinent information for us. And we ask that you assume positive intentions. Everything that is done in Prince George's County Public Schools is planned to be done in the best interest of our students. So we ask that lastly, that you offer suggestions rather than complaints in order to help us work collaboratively and move forward. So those are our norms. And we also like for you to know the following. This session is being recorded. The recording of the session will be posted on the Prince George's County Public Schools Facebook page. There is no chat available as this is a webinar. So we will only be using our Q&A feature. So that gives you an opportunity to type a question into the Q&A link that's at the bottom of your screen, and the interim superintendent will respond during his and give a live response. For additional questions, there's also another link being provided that we ask that you please take advantage of if you'd like to. It gives us an opportunity to make sure that we answer all of your questions and concerns that you may have. Next slide. How to submit a question. If you look at your screen right now, you will see about 4 buttons over a Q&A box or Q&A button. That is an opportunity for you to click and the box becomes you can type in your question. If you do not see that, scroll over to the more button and that Q&A button may be hidden under that. We ask that you type your question in and then click it to send it. You may send it anonymously, or you may place your name on the question that you're asking. Then click send, and it will come to us right away. Next slide. This is our agenda for the evening. We'd like to start with welcome and housekeeping, which we've done, and then we'd like to turn things over to our interim superintendent, Dr. Sean Joseph. He will bring greetings and a quick opening and overview, and then we will go right into our Q&A opportunity. So we invite you to begin typing those questions into the Q&A box so that we can make sure that as time allows us tonight, we can answer as many questions as possible. We will then, after all questions have been answered, we will give you an opportunity to hear some more from our interim superintendent. We will talk about next steps planned for us as we go forward this year, and then we'll have our meeting closing and evaluation. So just as we ask everyone to sign in, we ask everyone to please complete our evaluation. So at this point, I would like to welcome our interim superintendent, Dr. Sean Joseph. Dr. Joseph, please take it away and thank you for being here tonight.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, what an exciting time to be in District 7. I mean, home of District Heights, Morningside, Forestville, and Suitland and surrounding neighborhoods. I mean, you all got it going on, and nobody knows it better than your board member, Dr. Felton Moss. So I'm gonna turn it over to Dr. Moss, allow him to bring greetings. Dr. Moss?
Yeah, thank you so much, Superintendent Joseph. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Really excited to see all the families out tonight to learn more about your work. And just, we thank you for taking the opportunity to come specifically to our parents and stakeholders. This is a tremendous opportunity for them to get their questions answered, for you to be able to share your vision for the work. So again, thank you for extending yourself in this way. And thank you to all the parents and community stakeholders who are here tonight.
And I'll tell you, one of the reasons I came out of the university world to come support Prince George's County is because of your Board of Education. I mean, Dr. Moss has been fighting for folks and trying to get things right. I mean, I don't know if you all know that you got some new literacy labs that are going to be happening in your community where we want to show the nation and the district what excellence looks like in literacy. And the fact that it's happening in District 7 to scale, not only for our school system, but the state, is a testament to the great work and the hard work that's happening and the advocacy that you have in Dr. Moss in providing opportunities. And I know we also have we're going to be looking to get more folks in education and having a big conference. Dr. Moss, do you want to tell me a little bit about that? I know that's coming up soon, and that's big.
Oh yeah. One, thank you for the literacy lab work just for our parents who are on Suitland Elementary and District Heights Elementary. A significant investment that my colleagues on the board supported during the budget cycle to stand up two labs, one at Suitland Elementary, one at District Elementary, that would put the best and brightest teacher in that room, teaching some of our students who are struggling far most with reading. And then teachers from all over the county will be coming right here to District 7 to learn from those master teachers in those two schools. So really excited about it. And then in October, you'll see us bring together all of our men educators across the district to really think about what our practice and what our pedagogy is. What does it mean to lead as men, as Black male educators and brown educators doing the work? So really excited about our Black male educator and male educators of color conference that's coming up in October. So thank you, Superintendent Joseph, for supporting those.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I just can't say enough how excited I am about our literacy labs at District Heights and Suitland Elementary.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is an exciting time for Prince George's County. I mean, there comes a point in every organization's career where they say it's time. It's just time to focus. It's time to execute, and it's time to be really serious about the work. And I think that's where we are in Prince George's County in this day and age. I mean, a little bit about myself, and then I'll tell you a little bit about what I know about District 7, and then get to your questions. But I came in education in 1996. I went to Lincoln University, America's oldest historically Black degree granting institution. I got to say that because for the folks out in Cheney, they come press me whenever I don't get that right. So Cheney is the oldest historically African American university, but Lincoln was the first to give degrees back in 1854 when it was founded. But I went to Lincoln wanting to become a medical doctor because at the time, quite frankly, the only Black doctor that I had known in life was Cliff Huxtable on television. All right, but I went to Lincoln University and saw that people of all backgrounds, of all nationalities, including Black folks, had doctorates, and I wanted to be a medical doctor. I met a student from South Philadelphia High School over a summer that I was hired with a program called Upward Bound that brought students to college campuses to get them ready to go to college. And there, I met a student named Gary, and he struggled reading. I thought he was just joking and messing around with me at first, but I spoke to the head of the Upward Bound program there. His name was Herschel Bailey, and Mr. Bailey shared with me that in America, unfortunately, um, it wasn't uncommon to have students in high school who struggle reading, and that was like, I felt like it was one of the first times God spoke with me, to be honest with you, because I didn't get it. I mean, I remember getting emotional about it because I just didn't understand how in this country, and this was back in 1995, in this country, how do we put people on the moon but not teach Black children how to read? Any child. But Gary just happened to be a Black male from South Philadelphia High School, and I just didn't get it. And it was one of the first times in my life where I really felt inept because I did not know all the things I knew. I didn't know how to help this young man read that book Native Son that he had in front of him and write to a degree. I mean, Gary just, he was smart, he was vibrant, but I felt like that we failed him. I felt like we failed him, and I wrestled with it. And so I called my mom up and told her, you know what? I know I said I was going to be a biology major, but I'm going to major in English education because I'm going to go out into the world and address this reading stuff. So I wound up graduating from Lincoln University with a degree in English education. And then I went to Johns Hopkins University and got a degree in the teaching of reading. And I had been an English teacher, a team leader, a dean of students, assistant principal. I was Maryland State Principal of the Year in 2009, all in Montgomery County, Maryland. And then I supervised 34 schools down in Silver Spring, that Blair Einstein Northwood Kennedy High School in Silver Spring, all the elementary, middle, and high schools in that region. Before going to Seaford, Delaware to become superintendent back in 2012, had the great blessing to be here in 2014, from 2014 to 2016 under Dr. Kevin Maxwell. That was a time of growth in Prince George's County. It was when Rashawn Baker was the county executive. They went after this trying to get more money to raise taxes a little bit so they can put more money in the school system and got a increase. And that's where we really expanded a lot of the magnet programs and signature programs and things that we have here, things like the international school that we have, that all came during that time. I wound up leaving Prince George's County to go to Nashville, Tennessee to become superintendent of schools. I did that for 3 years before going to Fordham University. I'm originally from New York, so I'd always heard about, how prestigious Fordham was and how great of a school it was for things of that nature. And so to have an opportunity to go to Fordham and teach in the doctoral program there was an amazing experience for me. It also was a special time because it was the year my mom was diagnosed with cancer. So I feel like, God works in mysterious ways, and he was able to send me back to New York so I could be with my mother during that time as she went through her chemo and stuff. And, proud to report she's 83 years old, cancer free. She's been free of cancer since 2020. But I flew from Nashville. I'd fly into LaGuardia. I'd take a cab from LaGuardia to the Lincoln Center Then I'd walk a couple blocks to the train station and take the subway to the Long Island Railroad, then the Long Island Railroad to my mother's house in Central Islip, and then I'd fly out of Islip back to Nashville, and I did that for a full year. So just to let you know, I am a true West Indian. Any West Indian folk out there, you got a true rude boy here that has no problem with the grind. But I did that, and then for the past 5 years, I was at Howard University, where I run an urban superintendents academy there, and I taught just in a doctoral program in an urban education class, a politics of education class, and an instructional technology course. But over the course of those 30 years, I just never forgot the Garys of the world, because I feel like in America we should, at a minimum, be able to teach children, how to read. So, the opportunity to be here in Prince George's County, I think a place where America should see excellence on display for all children, particularly children of color, and particularly immigrant children, particularly children with special needs. This should be the place where we see accelerated growth. And I'm just looking forward to the opportunity to work with the team to make that reality true and clear and prominent for everybody. But man, if we can do it anywhere, like Dr. Moss communicated, we can do it in District 7. First, showing off what we can do in those literacy labs that we have in your district to show folks that we can teach all children how to read and read well. But in addition, to that work, I mean, you're just doing a lot of good stuff in District 7. I mean, in District 7, we see championship winning sports teams. We see thriving creative performing arts programs. We see career technical education programs ensuring students have real world success. I mean, and then we see it in places like Longfield Elementary School in Forestville. I don't know if you know about their story, but this school is a powerful example of what can happen when we invest in strong leadership, provide consistent instructional coaching, and stay laser focused on literacy and math. I mean, their results speak for themselves. Longfields is showing some of the most significant academic growth in our entire district. It's happening right here in District 7. In fact, Governor Wes Moore visited in June to see that success firsthand. And he may have said it best. What he said was, progress doesn't happen by accident. It takes leadership, it takes partnership, it takes amazing educators, and most importantly, it takes people who are willing to serve. And he's right. And I would add this, that growth requires coherence. When I say coherence, I mean from the board with the work that Dr. Moss is doing on down to the building services workers. Everybody should be clear about what we're doing first, second, and third, why we're doing it, how we're doing it, and what the expected results should be. And for that to happen, it requires collective support. And that's what we're working to do. And it also requires that we do things differently to get different results. So what's happening in Longfields is not a one-off. It's a blueprint for what we should be doing in every school as we think about how we move forward. And we see that same level of commitment at Overlook Spanish Immersion Program, where students are immersed in a second language every single day, learning math, science, and social studies entirely in Spanish. But that's not all the excellence we see in District 7. We see, if you walk into Bradbury Heights Elementary School, you'll see what it means to educate the whole child. As a community school, Bradbury brings together school culture, family partnerships, and wraparound supports to meet the needs of students where they are and to help them grow. The arts are also alive and well in District 7. I mean, you've got Benjamin Falloy Creative Performing Arts School there, and it's not where just arts is an elective. There are daily experiences where students are learning to discover their voice and advocate for the future. Many of these young artists go on to Suitland High School, which has been a long pillar of excellence within our district and home to some of the most gifted artists, athletes, and leaders in the world, not just in Prince George's County, not just in the state, but in the world. But Suitland is more than a school of the arts. It's been a pillar of the community with programs that give students a head start on college, careers, and entrepreneurship. And then, of course, when it comes to tradition and pride, you have Dr. Henry Weiss Junior High School, excuse me, Dr. Henry Weiss Junior High School there. I mean, the dominance in football. Now, I hate to tell you this, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I'll tell you because we family, right? Like, so my kids graduated from Quince Orchard High School, and I hated to see them beat y'all 2 years in a row. I know it's terrible. It ain't gonna happen this year though, because you know why? Because now we got the shoes. I just gotta put it out there. Uh, yeah, but y'all, but Wise does an amazing job. It's built one of the most dominant football programs in the state, capturing multiple state titles. But the Pumas are more than a football. From basketball to track to CTE programs to student leadership, WISE is a place where students compete, lead, and thrive in every area. And we're proud of all of our students there that are doing excellent work in the classroom and on the field. Now, as it relates to construction, because I know, as you know, Prince George's County has some of the oldest stock of buildings in the state, with more than half of our schools being more than 50 years old. And, you know, it takes typically 7 years from planning to building one school. And the Blueprint Schools program that we have in our district cuts that time in half and has been delivering long overdue schools more quickly than what has happened in the past. You know, so to address our 30-year construction gap, and the $8 billion maintenance backlog that we have in our county, we've launched an ambitious construction strategy to deliver new schools more quickly. That's called P3, right? It's a public-private partnership that allows us to build schools faster, and then we pay the private folks back, and then over 30 years we get to own the buildings again. But it allows us to build things a lot quicker. And District 7 has benefited from both that P3 model and our traditional capital improvement program. You've got Drew Freeman Middle School that was rebuilt and opened in 2023 under phase 1 of the Blueprint School program, that P3 model. And then soon, finally, I remember when I left 9 years ago, they were talking about a new Suitland High School. So very soon, the long-awaited Suitland High School will be modernized and give students the type of facilities that they deserve. The new building is currently under construction, and through our traditional capital improvement plan, the first phase of the comprehensive high school is set to open in January with a full campus, including the Center for the Visual Arts, Performing Arts, on track to be completed March of 2028. So it's coming. It's been a long time coming, but it is coming. So that's some of the great stuff that's happening in District 7. Again, I just highlighted a few schools. I could have kept going, but we only have an hour and a half. I really want to hear some of the questions that you have. So, Dr. Jackson, at this time, I will stop and let us answer some questions.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. I will start with one from an anonymous attendee who says, "Welcome, Dr. Joseph. Please help me understand why the early entrance into pre-K4 cuts off so early. It cut off at the end of the previous school year. Applications are not reviewed until October. So is there a process to allow students in if there are any empty seats after October?"
You know, I don't have the answer to that, but if you email me at superintendent@pgcps.org, I can get you that answer. But I don't know the answer to that one, unfortunately.
Thank you. Thanks so much. We have two questions from Mr. Tillman. One is, what are Dr. Joseph's educational priorities, specifically in District 7?
Yeah. So, you know, so I have to speak with the Board of Education for full priorities right now, based upon the data that I'm looking at. I mean, we've got to focus on academic improvement. I mean, that's clear, just all around, particularly reading, math, and science, making sure that we've got, you know, kids on accelerated paths, and if they're falling behind, that we have a response to what are we doing to make sure they stay, you know, on track. Another big priority is truancy. We've got a lot of kids who miss 18 days or more throughout the school year, and we've got to figure out why and have some incentives for them to be in. You know, also for me, I think a quick opportunity that we have in this district that we're not maximizing is getting more students in our dual enrollment programs at the high school level. We budget about $3 million a year for students to participate in dual enrollment. Like we pay 100% of students to be in that program. We had about 6,000 students who were eligible to participate, with only about 3,000 students actually going. And so I really want to make sure every student who's eligible for dual enrollment to get a college credits for free, which one lets them know that they can do college work, but two, most importantly, defrays the cost of them going to college, is something we just can't miss on. So those, but I want to speak with the Board of Education to prioritize the other things, because with every priority, there has to be a budget and there has to be a strategy to it. So we have to work in tandem to do that. But right now, truancy, focusing on the dual enrollment, and then looking at just basic reading and math acceleration and science acceleration are basic priorities for me.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph.
Oh, and
Are
I'll
we-
say, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
one more thing that we have to address.
Yes,
I got to put up front is special education. We must do better with our special education students. We've got to make sure that our schools are staffed and we have supports there. That's a very big one. That must be a system-wide priority for us.
thank you so much, because that was my next question for you. There's a parent who says that my child doesn't attend schools, I guess either of the schools that were mentioned in District 7 for the literacy lab. And they were wondering, is this literacy lab available at any other schools in the district?
Dr. Moss probably can answer more because that's his brainchild. But I would say I know we're piloting, but I'll turn it over to Dr. Moss on that one if I can.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So it is a literacy lab pilot, and it is primarily situated at these two schools. And the way it works is the teachers are working with the kids at that school and teachers from all across the county, based on professional development plans being developed by the central office, will bring teachers to that school. So the lab model is really centered on that. And again, as the superintendent laid out, this is a pilot, so it could, if the administration decides to go further with it, it could land at other schools. But in its infancy, it is a pilot to see that it works at these two schools.
Well, one thing, District 7, you'll be the first to know, is I had a meeting today with the state superintendent, and she talked to me about providing literacy coaches for every school in Prince George's County. That's going to be significant. These will be highly trained coaches that'll be doing job embedded support in all schools. I'll get more details. I just spoke with her at 5 o'clock this evening. But no, every school, so every school in District 7 will have someone who knows about literacy and doing the coaching and providing support to there. So that's going to be a big boost for us in the county, and we're very thankful to our state superintendent for giving us those resources.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph and Dr. Moss. The next question is from Vondra Rogers. She stated, with all of the teacher shortages, how can we implement these programs? What is being done to make sure teachers are feeling appreciated?
Yeah, well, I'll say it, right now we're about 90% staffed and we're still working. So we feel good that we've got a lot of teachers. But I do, one of the things probably on my first or second day, definitely the first week here, I was speaking with our head of benefits about teacher wellness, and that the fact that we must do more to focus on the retention of the teachers that we have here. And so, I care about teachers' mental health, their physical health, and I want to do activities to support them and also give them voice, make sure we have opportunities to listen to them, because the people closest to the work can tell us what needs to be corrected. We're very happy that we have increased our starting salaries, or will increase them if once the contract is ratified, and hopefully that'll happen as soon as teachers come back. Our starting salary for teachers is going to be above $60,000. That's 1 year ahead of the state's expectation for that to happen. And the new teacher contract really speaks to a lot of the historical cultural issues that teachers had felt some challenge with. One of the things that I've committed to with all of our unions is to develop a compact of respect, to really look at how we work with one another in true partnership, to get the work done and stay focused on children. So, know that teacher culture and cultural issues are top of mind for me right now, and it's something that we're going to continue to work with, to support keeping our teachers once we get them here. Because once we get them here, we got to treat them right so they stay. Because a good teacher has options all across the state, and we want Prince George's County to be the best option for them.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. Here's a question about buses. The attendee says, what is going on? Times aren't consistent. Children are late and then not offered breakfast or miss school altogether if they don't have access to public transportation. Can we please address transportation?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm trying to tell you, we have ramped up our communication around buses, our recruitment around buses. Yeah, I mean, the challenge is we have over 1,100 buses. I mean, when you put it in perspective, we're the 17th largest district in the country. We have over 1,000 buses, but we do have 137 vacancies right now. What that amounts to is about almost 700 routes right now, that we have buses that have to drop kids off, come back, and then pick up another set of kids as we're going through. We've been working hard to try to address this issue, and it's been a historic issue in Prince George's County. This year, we've taken a number of steps to try to increase the reliability and improve the student experience. I mean, we've added tablets to buses to boost the routing and GPS accuracy, because I've heard that parents were frustrated that they checked the app and the app wasn't accurate and they couldn't tell what time the kid was coming or where the bus was. So by adding these tablets, we're hoping to improve that. We're piloting transportation hubs at 3 specialty schools to reduce the ride times and improve punctuality. We're doubling the customer service staff in the offices to answer phones, because before we were answering about 1,000 calls, but you're getting 5,000 to 6,000 calls is the challenge. So now by increasing it, we hope we can increase the amount of people who get to speak to somebody to address the issues. We've also hired non-CDL van drivers to expand contracted services to support routes. And we're accelerating our hiring and training to fill routes. As you can see, we've been advertising on social media, on the radio, and coming out to let people know, driving a bus is a great opportunity to serve. And it's a great opportunity to get some great benefits. I mean, if you are an entrepreneur, I know when I was just at Howard University, I mean, I was spending about $900 a paycheck for my, insurance. So insurance is very expensive. We've got amazing benefits. So for folks who are entrepreneurs or folks who might be in some other service industry that need the benefits, this is a great opportunity for you to serve. It takes about 6 weeks, but we pay everything, and we pay you from the time you say you want to do it. While you're going through the classes, you're getting paid, and bus drivers right now make about between $20 to $43 an hour, depending upon experiences. So we're actively getting the word out, trying to recruit, looking at individuals within our district who don't make that particular salary range, to encourage them to have the opportunity. But the fact is, we know right now, even if we got 137 people tonight that signed up today, they wouldn't be ready to be on the road by the time the school starts. So one of the things we know we must do is communicate in those 700 routes where that's going to be affected throughout the county. We need to let families know and let you know what the anticipated challenges might be, so we can begin opportunities to carpool or drop students off, or just know that it's going to be an extra 30 minutes to get home, unfortunately. But it's something we're actively working on. And we're also piloting a new app called Chipmunk. We're going to pilot that in our special education bus routes. And if that goes well, we're going to expand it, but it should give real-time bus tracking. It should estimate the times of arrivals and give parents alerts and provide better accuracy to reduce uncertainty, right? The app is planned as a part of a full upgrade of our transportation technology. We know folks were frustrated with Stop Finder, and because it couldn't provide real-time accurate data. And Chipmunk is a better product than what we were using. But we have to try it out. And we're gonna launch it in phases to make sure we get it right. And again, the goal is to deliver accuracy and real-time updates. So I'm gonna ask for your grace and patience right up front this year. Our goal is to be better than we were last year, and then ultimately to solve the problem. And we're actively working on that.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. There are two questions specifically about Suitland High School's CVPA program. I was wondering if we could refer those two parents to the person in charge of the renovation at Suitland High School, because it has to do with relocation to Forestville High School. And there
Yeah.
are some specific questions that I think maybe those individuals could help with.
Okay, and Dr. Moss wants to make a comment on that as well.
All right, Dr. Moss, please do.
Yeah, Dr. Jackson, there were two parent meetings that were held as it relates to the shift of moving those students to Forestville temporarily. If that person drops their email, there are videos from that meeting as well as a FAQ document that was developed at the end of the meeting. I'm happy to email it to those folks, but we did hold two parent meetings to be able to walk through the specifics of that transition, one for all the parents at large, and then two for the kids who were participating in the CVPA program. But the email address in the chat, and I'll send you all that information.
So our chat is not active tonight. I do have their names. Dr. Moss, I can find their email and share it with you so that you can reach out to them. That is not a problem. We'll do that for you. Thank you. And thank you. It's Letitia Gant and Aaron Simmons. We want to make sure that we answer those questions for you. The next question in our Q&A box. So this question has to do with student behavior. This parent has observed that there are some problems with students who are showing disrespect towards teachers, fights that might be breaking out. What are your plans on addressing these issues?
Yeah, my very first meeting with our Chief of Student Services, Dr. Liz Faison, we talked about two things. One, we've got to make sure the handbook clearly communicates our expectations, and we're satisfied with those expectations. And two, we talked about the fact that we need a consistent behavioral program across the district right now. You know, the district in Maryland, we used to invest heavily in positive behavior intervention and supports, PBIS. You know, when the state kind of took those funds away, our consistency with it kind of dwindled. And we've got to be clear about that. But expectations have to be clear. We've got to make sure we're teaching behaviors. But if students come in and they're violent and they're demonstrating they can't be in our schools, we have to find alternative places. We can't allow students to disrupt the learning of the majority of kids here. And so we have to be merciful, but we have to make sure that the overall buildings are safe. And so we'll have to work with, that balance, but having a consistent behavior modification program across schools is something that we must have. And right now we don't, but it's something we're talking about to figure out what we do. Because again, on the basic level, parents, students, staff need to feel safe. And we have to ensure that.
Thank you. There have been 3 questions that have been asked about comparisons between Prince George's County and Montgomery County Public Schools. 2 of them have to do with how do we effectively compete with Montgomery County as far as student achievement. And the second one, the last one was about the funding. They've noticed a difference in the funding that the two counties receive. Can you enlighten us about that?
Yeah, so they have about $1 billion more. I mean, I know when I was there, their community, I was there from what, 1996 to 2012. And then I was under, most of my tenure was under a superintendent there named Jerry Wiest. And he was able to get $100 million a year for 10 consecutive years, with the community being willing to, raise their taxes and put more dollars in the schools. I think the mm, the differences in funding, are pretty significant, and a lot of that has to do, I think, it's a collective question for us in terms of bringing business industry things into Prince George's that will give us a stronger tax base where more dollars can go, into schools. I can tell you, I've not seen stronger teachers and people working harder than the families. I mean, the teachers in Prince George's County. I mean, I'll tell you that up front. If I thought differently, trust me, I would not say it. We got folks here that work really hard and are extremely capable and smart. I think in terms of buildings, they've just had more resource in their capital improvement dollars and budgets to be able to get things fixed quicker. I think right now, I just sent a note to the state when I spoke to Dr. Wright today. I asked her if we could get the de-identified data in terms of achievement for all schools across the state, taking out the student information. So that way, they're not giving me anything about, student information, but it'll allow us to look at how are students in Prince George's County comparing with Montgomery, because I would challenge. I think I think there's a myth out there. I actually would predict that our immigrant students do equally as, if not better than, students in Montgomery County. Our African American students might do equally as, if not better than, those students. I need the data to lock that down. We are 90% students of color in Prince George's County, and we have a free and reduced meals rate, I believe, of about 60%. And we've got students that come from, over 140 different countries. They do as well. But I think they overall are a relatively more affluent district. And research has shown that there's a correlation, unfortunately, between how much folks make and outcomes. Great school systems break that link, right? So it don't matter how much you make, you come here and we can compete with anybody. But I wanna, that's one of the things I really wanna look at this semester, if we can get that data, and she's gonna look to try to get us that, to make those comparisons. Because I think right now, people don't know how good many of our students do in Prince George's County. And we don't do a great job telling the good stories, and we don't do a good job communicating whether kids are growing or not in our schools. And that's something, I've been delving into now. I had a meeting today with the head of data, Dr. Doug Strader, and our chief of staff, Dr. Deanne Collins, just about that. I want to look. But right now they've got more money than we do, but it doesn't matter because, I don't think money does matter, but I think if we focus on excellence and we focus on what we know, research says you need to do, right? It says, right, research says that, you've got to have, safety in your buildings, right? You get fundamentally, people got to feel safe. You've got to have instructional leadership from the principal, and you've got to have strong teachers. You've got to have strong parent engagement, a climate of high expectations, a clear vision. We got to figure out how we maximize the use of time and be clear about what we monitor. Like if we do those 7 things, I mean, those were called correlates of highly effective schools. I think if we do those things well, we should be able to compete well with anybody. And I think we've got to do a good job of investing in building our folks' capacity too. I will tell you one of the things that I noticed 9 years ago when I was here, versus what I knew from my 16 years in Montgomery County, was they did do a better job of building the capacity of their people, both principals, both teachers, and focused on job embedded professional development, meaning they didn't pull a lot of people out of schools. They invested dollars in training happening real time during the school day. We didn't do that 9 years ago. I'm assessing where we are right now, but that's a place we need to go.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph. Um, Here's an anonymous attendee who says, my child has attended ESY this summer as per their IEP. It has been unorganized and apparently the parent is feeling no added value. They want to know, how can we improve our ESY program?
I'd ask that parent, please share with me the school. I'll go visit and see it firsthand. I'm actually this Wednesday, I was going to go visit some schools anyway. I think I was going to go to Friendly High School on Wednesday and then visit another one of our schools. If we get the name of the ESY program your child attends, I promise you I will visit. And then I can see it and give you some feedback. But I can speak with Dr. Bowman, who will be back tomorrow.
You don't want a kid?
Huh?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what happened. We can,
That was Winsome.
thank you.
Yeah, but I can speak with Dr. Bowman tomorrow about our ESY programs, and like I said, we'll visit and see firsthand what's happening.
Thank you. An anonymous attendee asks, does PGCPS incentivize teachers with bonuses based on student performance or impact? And is this something that PGCPS would consider?
I don't believe we do currently. Those type of negotiations would have to, we'd have to work with the unions to do that. Research is mixed on whether, you know, incentivizing with money results in better outcomes. I think what's better is ensuring that everybody has a good salary that where they can live and do well, but we provide dollars in professional development to build the capacity of teachers that we truly value, listen to, and work with teacher voice, and we create good cultures. I mean, people, money matters. I'll never say it doesn't, but culture matters more and more often. I mean, look, I spent I spent 6 years joyously at the professorship, and we make no money. But but the freedom that I had to create, to go out and learn and share with colleagues and be in a great culture was, I mean, it was worth much more than when I made triple that salary, in the K-12 space.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. I was looking at the time. I just want to make sure that I think we are getting close to answering all the questions we have. Here is an anonymous attendee who's asking a question about any new staff training that's going on this coming school year. Any new professional development for educators?
We haven't defined anything new yet. One of the things I want to do is work with our unions to understand teachers' needs and wants. I think we do our staff a disservice when I come in, not having been in Prince George's County for 9 years, and just say, here's what we're doing, and I haven't really spoken to anybody. So if you have ideas about, if you're a teacher and you have ideas about something that you need, it'd be great if you just email us, you can email me directly, either on the link, as I sent the information out directly to staff and gave you that link to give feedback. If you put it there, I promise you, I read everything. Uh, that would be helpful. But we'll put surveys out and we'll work with the unions to see what the needs are out there.
Thank you.
I do think across the country, one big challenge districts have is they spend less than, 2 cents on the dollar in professional development for folks. And they don't invest in job embedded professional development, meaning again, not pulling people out for a 1-day training, but having ongoing feedback like what Dr. Moss is creating in those labs, those literacy labs. We need more of that type of professional development to really build capacity.
Thank you so much. I want to share one of our parents who wrote a letter, basically of kudos, just letting people know that first of all, they thank you, Dr. Joseph, for shouting out Benjamin Falloy. This parent says he has twin daughters, I'm sorry, that are student athletes, artists there that are going into the 8th grade. He was skeptical when they went into the lottery and joined that school, but they have been doing very well. And he's suggesting to other parents, please consider trying to get their children into Benjamin Falloy. We appreciate you. And the name is, I'm sorry, I think it's Mr. Damon Crawford. So thank you, Mr. Crawford. And I didn't see a question there, but I thought it would be nice to hear some good news. So thank you. Here's a question about what specific measurable goals do you have for student achievement, and how will you track progress?
Mm-hmm. So in terms of measurable goals, right now, what I'm working on is I want to know, are kids making adequate progress in our schools? So before you can set a goal, you have to have a baseline. And what I want to know is kids who come to school every day, are they growing at acceptable rates? And answer that question in reading and math at a minimum. Once I have that, the next step would be looking at where are students excelling and, exceeding expected growth and what's happening there. So I've got our research team doing predictive analyses on students' past performance to see are they making that growth. Once we do that, we're gonna actually set some targets in areas for schools. I am big on making sure how do we accelerate growth, right? I mean, because in a place like Prince George's County, what I know is you can have, if you've got a student that came here from another country and they're learning the language, they're in 7th grade. Well, they might be scoring or reading in terms of academic language at a 4th grade level. They're in 7th grade. So if the school gets them from the 4th grade level to the 6th grade level, they still will, when they take that state test, they're not going to meet standard. They grew 2 years, but they didn't meet standard. So what the public sees is, oh, the school didn't meet standard, and it doesn't acknowledge the fact that they had 2 years of growth. So I want to pay attention and put scorecards out there for families to see the growth that's happening in our schools. Because we have complex children, lots of them, right? 40% of our students are Latino, and a number of those students within that subgroup, English is their second language, and they're learning, right? We've got to be able to tell the growth stories. So I know the state does what they do. I'm interested in also being able to track and communicate the growth. So one of the things I told the staff when I got here was that every parent should know how well their kid is reading and how well their kid is performing in mathematics compared to kids around the nation. And we need to give tests that can communicate that to parents. So then we can better track growth. So that's the approach I'm taking as I look at improvement areas, because all kids should grow at a minimum 1 year. But we know we've got to do things to accelerate that growth if we're going to see our overall scores hitting the benchmarks that are communicated to us by the state.
Thank you. Here's a question. Can residents expect to see published and accessible plans to address some of the issues that are being shared, whether it's teacher retention, special education, etc.?
Yes, yes, you will. So I'm going to give an update. Right now, I'm just in a listening phase, right, in this 100 days. So I'll give an update at the board meeting. I believe it's August 21st. I'll give another one after 60 days. I'll give another one after 100 days. By the 100th day, I would have had a really good understanding and grasp of where we are. From there, we're going to be moving into a strategic planning process for the district. But you're going to see dashboards posted on schools in terms of vacancies, seeing where the vacancies are. Because what I know is you can't manage a secret. Like I don't want it to be secret. If a school's got 10 vacancies, I want everybody to know, because I want everybody to focus on actually doing something to fill those vacancies. And when it's public, there's more urgency to get it done. So you'll see us put that out there, and you'll also see us putting out the growth scores formatively. And then once we have our strategic plan done, those plans come with action plans. So all of that will be very public, and we'll find ways to get it to families in ways that you don't have to go searching for it. Because right now we've got a lot of stuff, but it's buried deep in our websites that no parent will ever go to. You know, one of the things I say to our staff is that, you know, in my 12 years of both my children going through K-12 schools, I never went to the school system's website to look for anything. I mean, I would go directly to the school's website and work with the school. So we got to get information to parents where they'll go looking for it at the school site, or we got to figure ways to just push it out to them so they have access to it. So we'll do both as our plans are developed.
Thank you. The next question is from Brittany Patrick. Medicaid is the fourth largest funder of public education. What is the county doing to prepare for the looming cuts to Medicaid and ensure families and children have access to much needed health care, including in-school services like speech?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We're very concerned about the potential cuts. We lost 9% of our Title I funding. We budgeted for 20% though. So, you know, that was good. That was good planning on the board's part and the previous administration's part. You know, right now, what I'm doing is trying to get a handle on the budget and working to ensure that aligns to our strategic priorities. Overall, in Maryland, we were expected to receive $125 million less in federal funding for specific title programs compared to last year, and that does not include Medicaid. And so, you know, as the situation is unfolding, we know that there'll be an impact. Right now, federal dollars are about 12 to 13% of our budget. You know, so I'm trying to prioritize how we're utilizing those dollars, and are we getting a return on investment? Because if we have cuts, we got to make sure the dollars that we have count. But as it relates to, you know, the Medicaid piece, like a lot of this stuff that's happening, you know, we're kind of like in a wait and see moment. You know, once we see how bad the reality is, we'll need to pivot and see what can be done. So I would just say, stay tuned. Please stay attuned to board meetings, because we'll be communicating those types of things in board updates as we move through. And then we'll discuss in real time what we'll need to do to address those issues.
Thank you. We have a few more questions, and then we want to open it up for you, Dr. Joseph, to share some of your plan, if that's okay, or would you like to go into the plan first?
Yeah, I'm flexible. Yeah.
Okay, why don't we do that, and then we have about 3 more questions to ask
Okay.
after that.
So at a very high level, my plan has 6 areas. Step one is just connecting and working with the board. Like the board and I need to come together to communicate priorities, to align our budget, and to figure out what we're going to do first, second, and third. So, we've committed to meeting monthly collectively because it's just a lot. I mean, again, with 208 schools, a multi-billion-dollar budget, a lot of things happening. We've got to be clear where I know large districts don't move forward and don't progress because of a lack of focus. You're trying to do too much with too little and you get nothing. So it's important that the board and I really lock in and ask the question, what do we want to accomplish this year? What's the budget to accomplish it? And what are the plans? So in my first 100 days, it's really that work to get the board and I aligned so we can really focus. As I move into priority area number 2, that's about talent management. Like I said, we've got a lot of vacancies across the district in a lot of different fields. I mean, again, we hire over 20,000 employees, so it's a big task filling every seat. And in most districts, you don't, but we're working towards that. In the first 100 days, the immediate things I started doing was just, remember, I came in and we had to get the contracts negotiated, and we've been successful. And right now, all of our unions have tentative contracts, which is a good thing. And now we've got to build a relationship in terms of how we work together. And we've got to look at the plans that we have in the district and make sure we have a clear partnership and collaborative way to go about addressing the legislation that's called the Blueprint for Maryland's Future, and also ensuring that climate and culture are good, so that way folks can focus on our children. And we've just got a lot of vacancies we have to fill. So in these first 100 days, that's been the work, really getting a handle on why we have vacancies, what we need to do, how do we provide supports, and also particularly thinking about in our most vulnerable communities and populations. We call them in Maryland CSI schools. These are the schools, comprehensive school support. These are the schools that are the lowest performing schools in the state of Maryland. In the top, they're in the 10% of the lowest performing schools. We have 24 out of our 208 schools here. So really paying attention and having a plan for that is the work that I've been doing in this first 100 days. I just announced today that I hired a associate superintendent that's going to oversee ensuring that those schools get the supports that they need. So that was a part of the talent development work that we've been doing in the first 100 days. Goal area 3, we go to the next slide, focuses on academics. For me, like I said earlier, we've got to get a baseline of how we're performing. We've got to know where there's exceptional growth, where there's no growth, where there's moderate growth. And we've got to make sure those schools have key plans and we're going through to make sure that there's improvement happening. I also want to pay attention to return on investment. There's a lot of money that flows through a lot of our schools, because we push dollars out directly to the schools. Actually, the Blueprint for Maryland's Future, I think, expects us to put like 75% of dollars that come in from the state and federal government directly to schools. But we've got to make sure schools are spending those dollars wisely, addressing and meeting needs. So I've asked our research team to look at the big pots of money that go out to schools, look at what they're spending dollars on, and asking, are they getting a result for what they're spending on? Because if they're not getting a result, then we're going to require that they stop doing that and start investing in things that we know or believe would have greater outcome. So that's what I've been focused on in the areas of academics at the moment. And then as we go to area 4, that's the Blueprint for Maryland's Future. So this is a law. Maryland, again, it's a blessing about being in Maryland is that our state has put $3 billion additional dollars in public education. And they've got lots of plans for us and expectations for us that come with those dollars, but we see that as an opportunity to grow. One of the things that I know I have to reconcile this year is we had the Blueprint for Maryland's Future as kind of one group of plans that we're working on, and then we had a strategic plan that was separate. I think that's a mistake. I think there should be one plan that encompasses all of the goals that we have for the Blueprint for Maryland's Future, which is what the state is charging us to do. But then we might have some unique Prince George's County goals that go above and beyond what those plans are. So we've got to merge that into one plan. And as we move into the strategic planning process this year, that's something we're going to prioritize. But we want to make sure that we're exceeding what the state is saying that we have to do as a minimum expectation. And we're going to use this as an opportunity to really demonstrate some leadership in Maryland to accelerate performance. And as we go to priority area 5, this is where I started. We have to show families we respect your voice and that you are equal partners with us in educating your children. It has to be more than lip service. It has to be actual action. So one of the things I know I'm going to ask the board to do when they reconvene is to look at our family engagement policy. We do have a policy, but I question whether that policy is updated and really progressive in communicating our value of parents, ensuring that parents have an active voice at the table and are actively providing us input and feedback to improve. One of the things I've charged Dr. Jackson to do is to reestablish our Prince George's County Parent Council because we need a district-wide parent-teacher organization to help with advocacy, both at the local level and at the state level and at the federal level. I mean, so it's 3 areas where we really need to be more intentional and have a collective unified voice to help advocate for your children. So I'll be working to do that. And I want to hear the good, the bad, the ugly. I know we have work to do. Every large district does. And so, like the parent who said, what's happening in our ESY programs. I mean, I want to hear that. And I'm going to, because you brought it up to me, I'm going to go visit one, I promise you, before this summer is out to see what is happening. But the more parents communicate with us, the more focused we can be. So it's really important that we really have a partnership. And if nothing else, the people in Sasser, that's the office that I'm in, are working hard to listen to you and make adjustments based upon your feedback. And then area 6 focuses on operations. We've got to do basics, like we've got to make sure the grass is cut, the buildings are painted, the floors are clean. You got soap in the dispensaries, toilet tissue, just the basics that folks are getting their materials. So right now, particularly as we're starting school, there's a lot of moving parts happening right now, and we have to make sure we're ready when kids come. One of the things that I think we've got to also do in operations, I mean, we've got to look at, I'm wondering, how are we utilizing AI technology? I mean, I spoke with Andy Zuckerman, who's our chief information officer today, about piloting 3 or 4 AI technologies in schools to see if it can support improving outcomes for us to figure out where we want to scale. So as we look at operations, we're trying to figure out how do we become more efficient and effective. I have been stressing to staff, I don't want you working 10, 12, 14-hour days. I mean, I want you to give us an efficient and effective 8 hours, and then I want you to go home and be healthy and enjoy your family. But we've got to work on balance. That's important, and that's something I think technology can help us be more efficient and effective, so we have more time to be healthy. And so I'm looking to see where are there opportunities for us to be more efficient and effective. So those are the 6 areas at a very high level that I'm working on in these first 100 days. But again, this wasn't meant to be all inclusive. I mean, I know safety and security is a big issue, and it's not in the initial priorities. It's something we're covering, but it's not in our initial priorities. This was just to kind of get me going. You'll see safety and budget efficiency and effectiveness and some of the other broader pieces in the actual strategic plan once we start working on that. In about, we'll probably get to the strategic plan work, I would say, moving into November, December, January. By January, we should be fully up and moving. This is just giving me some feedback because you got to start somewhere. And so,
Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph. I hope I didn't cut you off. You
no.
paused.
I was just about to say, so I know we got about 20 more minutes to answer some more of those questions that you have. So
Yes, thank you. Um, Here's a question about how will you address the issues raised about teacher quality? Do we work to help them improve, or do we just move them to another location?
you know, my mind. Sorry, there's a saying that says it's cheaper to keep them. You know what I what I what I mean by that is, look, nationally there's a teacher shortage. So anybody committed to coming in and teaching, I think we owe it to them and is worth the investment to help build capacity. Now, if somebody's just not performing or they're harming children, yeah, then we got to let them go. But it's worth it to put the investment in because we've got shortages nationally. And so we've got to help build people's capacity.
Thank you. Janice Cornish asked if you would be meeting with actual customers, the students of Prince George's County Public Schools.
Absolutely. I had a meeting with our student board member today, and we talked about using the SMOB to do some work. We talked about having at least quarterly meetings with students, going around to the different schools, listening to them. I mean, one thing we said we were going to look at is our nutrition program and having student tastings and recommendations on ensuring that the food that they're getting is something that they want and something that they enjoy and healthy. I mean, I don't know if we have salad bars and access to fresh water in all schools, but it's something we should if we don't. Working on that, and then also teaching children about healthy eating. But that's something we're gonna work together on. This the student board member, and I, and also students can tell me about school safety issues. I mean, they can tell me about the academics, the quality of instruction. When I was in my previous superintendencies, in both of them, I frequently went to schools around the budget time to ask students, if we could do anything to improve your experience, what would it be? And I got the most feedback in terms of what I was recommending in my budgets from students, as they told me about, issues with textbooks, technology, food, uniforms, the cleanliness of buildings, all of those things. A lot of those ideas really came from the kids. So student voice is really important to me as we develop plans, because they're our customers.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. We have a question about, will students have Chromebooks issued this year?
Yes, we do have technology available to allow students to use as they need it. I know I had a conversation. I know we spoke with, gosh, right very early. I spoke with our chief of technology. I just can't remember that conversation because it's been so many. I've been like drinking from a fire hose, to be honest. But yes, we do have access to technology if students need them. I think we were talking about, many students don't necessarily need our Chromebook or want our Chromebook. So they might not just give them out automatically. But if student needs a Chromebook, then we definitely have the capacity to give them out.
Thank you. We have a question about the board-appointed Parent and Community Advisory Council, we call PCAC. How will you work with that organization that is created under Board Policy 1500?
Right, right. And we'll definitely have lots of opportunities to engage, and I will follow Dr. Jackson's lead and do whatever she tells me to do. But we but we I know that that's an established group that has been very effective working closely with the board, and will continue working with them. But I also, in addition, I mean, I just want to make sure we have broad coalitions. That's my interest, is to ensure that that there's a structure in meetings and updates with community members. You know, again, my 16 years in Montgomery, I found the Montgomery County PTA Association to be extremely effective. They had structures in each, they called them quad clusters. So each area, and they had, you know, presidents and representatives that worked closely with the associate superintendents in those specific schools about unique issues, and they held the schools accountable and worked in collaboration with them. And then they also were active in providing feedback and information in the budgeting process. And they had, each PTA had representatives from the schools that were a part of it. So it was a pretty robust, intricate organization. But when they mobilized, they became very powerful. And I think that's, to me, I think that's one of the reasons they were able to get the $100 million a year for those 10 consecutive years, because they had a very robust, informed group of constituents who understood where dollars were going, understood they had stake and a voice in it, and could be champions and advocates. And quite frankly, I don't think we have that at scale in Prince George's County. And it's something, it's an infrastructure we need to build. So I definitely, one of the things I would love to do is work with the board appointed members to help us think about this infrastructure, to have that broader capacity.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. We have a question about crowding at some of the high schools. Are we considering that some schools have perhaps more desirable programs than others? Is that a contributing factor to overcrowding?
I'm sure it is. And I'm sure also the size of the buildings. I know the north is, I believe, is more crowded than the south. I'm still gathering data on all of this to see where we have overcrowding and undercrowding. But one of the things I know, I want to do is look to see where we have programs and what access do children have to programs, right? Yeah, I mean, when I was in my last school district, I realized and very quickly noticed that the more affluent parts of town had, you know, things like IB programs and STEM programs and things of that nature. The less affluent parts of town had more service-oriented programs, you know, and there was a disparity. And if you didn't have a car or didn't have transportation, you didn't have access to certain programs. I don't know where we are in Prince George's County right now. I know we've got a lot of different programs and a lot of different things, but I don't know north, south, east, and west if there's equity. And that's something, you know, working with Dr. White, I'll get the answer to. And if we need to make recommendations, we make those recommendations based upon that, based upon specific data and facts.
Thank you. An anonymous attendee asks, says, you have spoken a lot about teacher voice. Can you share some more about your ideas about teacher leadership as envisioned in the blueprint for Maryland's future?
Yeah, I mean, the blueprint wants us to create a career lattice, right? So they want to, how do we keep strong teachers in the profession and not have to become an administrator to make more money? So you know, I like the opportunity culture work that's happening in North Carolina, where you pay a teacher, you know, an expert teacher, additional monies to teach some, but then go support others and build out their capacity. I mean, so I'd be interested as we do the career lattice work, to look at, what's happening with the opportunity culture work. I also would be interested in providing stipends for teachers. I think teachers can give more feedback, better feedback sometimes than administrators can in particular content areas. And right now I don't know if we allow teachers to provide feedback that counts to other teachers. I'm also very familiar with the peer assistance and review programs. That is a program that's in partnership with the unions to provide support to new teachers and support to teachers who need additional help. And there are opportunities to pay people for their services in doing that and creating consulting teacher opportunities. So those are some of the things that immediately come to mind that I think other districts are doing in the region that could be low-hanging fruit for us to explore.
Thank you. There's a question about the recent dissolve of many federal government agencies. Where is the county in reviewing and updating administrative procedures such as 5411 to support families that might be struggling or have to make immediate decisions regarding living arrangements? And it also impacts students because many of them are being excluded from activities due to the current language in the administrative procedures.
Yeah, right now I don't know. I know the state of Maryland has done some work. Um, I'm not sure what Prince George's County has done, to be honest with you. If you sent me an email to superintendent@pgcps.org, I can find out and share that information with you if it's of interest.
Thank you. Crystal Clemens writes, as a parent who consistently volunteers at my children's schools, I'm surprised at the amount of effort it takes for a parent to volunteer in PGCPS. Are there any ways to streamline or improve this process while maintaining the security requirements?
Yeah, I know Prince George's County changed dramatically when we had that bad incident back in I believe it was 2016,
Yes.
with the volunteer that came in and did heinous acts towards students. I know that there was a very swift, elaborate plan of action that probably has resulted in it being much harder to volunteer in our schools. It could be worth it to revisit what we're doing because there has to be that balance of safety and accessibility. Um, and so it's worth discussing things to reviewing and seeing if there's something that can be done, knowing that first and foremost we got to make sure all of our kids are safe.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. We have a welcome from a fellow West Indian, and the parent wants to appreciate your eagerness to support students. Her question is about the CVPA students at Suitland. And are we making sure that they have consistent transportation since they live outside of their boundary, the normal zone?
Yeah, they should have it. I don't know the specifics about those routes yet, or if any of those 700 routes affect that school. We are working to get that information. One of the things that I've told our team we must do is communicate effectively with parents. If there are going to be impacts, we need to get that message out, and so parents are clear. I know at my last cabinet meeting last Tuesday, we talked about making sure all parents get index cards in the mail that had QR codes that would allow them to have the most up-to-date information related to how to figure out where your buses are and communicate about buses. But we'll do our best to communicate effectively this year as it relates to transportation. But I don't know if the program is going to be affected by the 3 hubs that we're creating to make it more efficient and effective for kids who are transporting. We're working in partnership now with the Parks and Planning right now to work with Parks and Planning to have a safe space to have those bus stops to pick kids up at local, convenient places to make it easier to pick kids up, drop them off, and reduce their times. I don't know if your school's program will be affected by one of those hubs, but if so, it should reduce the times and make it easier to get to and from in centralized locations in terms of bus stops.
Thank you. Actually, we have 2 more questions.
Yeah.
One is about one of our charter schools, and the question is, how were they allowed to keep their charter when 80% of their 8th graders scored 1 to 2 grades below their level in math? How do we hold schools like this accountable?
Yeah. And, we've got to hold all schools accountable, both charter and non-charter. We do have a charter school office that monitors performance of students. I think when they sign a charter, it's for multiple years. There is a process to revoke a charter, but I think that rarely happens unless there's something, egregious that occurs. What I would say is, I'm definitely supporting all charter schools as well as non-charter schools. I had a meeting with all of the charter leaders last week. And so if you have concerns about a specific charter school, let me know. And we can definitely give you specific feedback on that charter. I think that the range of charter achievement in our district is very broad. We've got some schools with 100% graduation rates and students are doing extremely well. And we've got some charters that looks like they're struggling to me. And I think as a system, we've got to support all children because all children in Prince George's County are our children. But I agree with you, if a school is persistently underperforming, then we've got to address it. And I think that's whether it's a charter school or a non-charter school.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph. The last question. In the last board meeting, DIAB reported that educators are waiting an average of 90+ days for responses to reasonable accommodation requests. Do you intend to review these types of processes in HR?
Yeah, I met with the administrative union last week about that very issue. We've got a problem in our equity office right now. I think we had one person on leave and we had another person that is no longer with us. We've been outsourcing, but that office seems to need an overhaul, quite frankly. And I do think some of the stuff that the unions were telling me about how long it takes to get people accommodations is just unacceptable. And so one of the things I talked to the unions about and said we would be committed to is looking to see if we have to put more resources in an office, then we need to do so, because our employees must get their accommodations in an appropriate time. And so I know that's an area of improvement that is on the radar.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Joseph, and thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We are coming up quickly on 7:30. We're going to invite you to please complete our closing evaluation that will be dropped into the chat. Please fill out that evaluation. Give us feedback. Let us know how this meeting was conducted. Did it meet your needs? Were your questions answered? And then we have a closing video that we like to share with you, just again to thank you and remind you of the things that are coming up to help us with opening our schools. Thank you, Team Prince George's, our interpreters, our staff who have been with us tonight, and we will see you all again on Wednesday night. Thank you.